Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished entrepreneur, a fellow member of the YPO from USA, Mr. Brett Hurt. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Ash. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you.
Congrats on your success with it.
Thank you. Brett is the Chief Executive Officer of Love Conquers Fear, as well as the Chief Executive Officer of Hurt Family Investments. And as I mentioned, he's also a fellow member of the YPO. So, Brett, we're going to speak about Love Conquers Fear and Hurt Family Investments. But before we come to this, tell me a little bit about your own journey.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Austin, Texas. That's where I'm at right now as we're recording this. I started programming at age 7. I'm 53 years old. So I started programming in 1979. And I'm a product of a mother who put a ton of love in me. She helped me find my passion at age 7. She then let me do that unconditionally. I did that over 40 hours a week throughout my entire childhood, young adulthood. And then I was right place, right time, right passion for the inflection point in the world. So I've started 6 companies. I took one public named Bizarre Voice, which had over $1 billion IPOs, named one of the top 5 IPOs in 2012 by the Wall Street Journal. My most recent company, ServiceNow, my most recent company, Dated Out World, just got acquired by ServiceNow on 7/7. And 7 is a very divine number for me. I'm Jewish, and the 10 qualities of the divine in the Kabbalah are very interesting.
Yeah.
Number 7 is the quality of determination, persistence, and that is a product of who I am. I mean, that really describes me extremely well. Fortunately, I've been successful, and that's allowed me to do what I'm doing now with our investments. We've been doing that for about 15 years. We're in 149 startups now, 47 VC funds. 12 of the companies that we seed back to become unicorns, which is amazing. And I'm having the time of my life right now with Love Conquers Fear, because the next 10 to 15 years matter the most for humanity in our history, because the technologies that we're developing right now with AI, quantum computing, robotics are vastly more powerful than anything we've developed before, except for nuclear weapons. And how we use those technologies to allow our fears to be conquered and manifest love, which is the highest order value in the universe, really determines whether or not humanity makes it to what I'm calling the age of abundance for all, or we destroy ourselves. And I'm 95% certain that we make it. To be clear, I'm mostly positive that humanity will transcend into this age, but I'm putting it all on the field to make sure, to the best of my ability, that we do. And I want to be clear to you and your audience that I'm part of the light. There are a lot of other people that have much more powerful positions than I do that are also part of the light, like Eric Schmidt and Dimas Hassibis and Dr. Fifi Lee and Mira Murati and Mustafa Suleiman. So there's a lot of people that are putting it all in the field right now, of course. And here in America, Indian Americans are actually the most successful minorities in America. I don't know if you knew that. And they are in charge of some of the largest tech companies in the world. And so I have a huge love for India. I think that I was an Indian in my past life. I very much believe in reincarnation. And every time I go there, I feel extremely connected, extremely spiritual. And this is the test for you and me in this lifetime, and for everybody watching this, on can we transcend our scarcity, fear-based, zero-sum mindsets to manifest the future that we all want for ourselves, our children, and each other. We're all brothers and sisters. I mean,
absolutely. Very
you
well
realize
said.
that our DNA is 99.9% the same. Everybody's DNA in the world is 99.9% the same. So we were
Absolutely.
literally like brothers.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And to add to that, within the YPO, we are brothers in any case. So,
We are, but
absolutely. Very well said.
there's only one team humanity, and we're all part of it.
Absolutely. Very well said. Thank you. Brett, let's talk a little bit about Love Conquers Fear. You have spoken a little bit about it, but tell me
Mhm.
a little bit about Love Conquers Fear. What was the inspiration to create it, and what does it mean to you personally?
Yeah, so I've been on a real deep dive with ancient spirituality. And, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the Tao Te Ching, of course, Kabbalah, I'm Jewish. I've, read a lot of parts of the Bible, the Quran, and they all have a common root. All religions have a common root, Buddhism as
Absolutely.
well, that love is the root. It's the highest vibratory force in the universe.
Mm.
And let's be very thankful that when we pray or we meditate or we have a psychedelic experience or anything that gets us to see the unity of all things and that everything is connected and that it's rooted in love, let's be
Mm.
thankful that that is the definition, in my opinion, of God.
Yep.
Now, you could call God, the universe,
Mm.
consciousness of the universe. You could call that the astral plane. There's a lot of things that you could call
Yep.
God. And, one of the things that I think we all need to be cautious of
Mm.
is that we should all be very humble in what is the nature of God. None of us know, but
Correct.
everybody listening to this that says, oh, he's just one of those spiritual guys, let me just propose to you as a materialist.
Hmm.
I'm not a materialist, but
Yeah.
for if you are watching this, that you have to grapple with the Big Bang and the miracle of it. Okay.
Hmm.
And for whatever reason, and from Hindu scripture with Brahman breathes in and breathes out, that for whatever reason, the universe was in this hyper collapse state of no entropy, and then
Hmm.
boom, it expands out. And as far as we can find, it's infinite and it just keeps on expanding.
Hmm.
And I actually think that that's because consciousness overall is expanding and that consciousness is fundamental. So the title of the podcast that I have, Love Conquers Fear, which I'm releasing twice a week. I'm spending a lot of money on it. I don't have any advertising. It's all very high production value, great in person, cameras, mics, etc. The reason I'm doing this is it's encoded in the message and the title of the podcast
Hmm.
itself, in that we have to transcend ourselves. And that's a tall order because humanity is locked into this scarcity mindset because of the way we evolved.
Yep.
Homo sapiens have been here for 250,000 years.
Hmm.
The Earth is 4.54 billion years old. Hominids have been here for only 4 million years, and life on Earth has been here for 4 billion years. So
Yep.
think about that. Like very soon after the Earth was born, shortly after the star, the sun was born 4.6 billion years ago,
Hmm.
life began. And here we are. And it was almost over for humanity 50 to 70,000 years ago. You can look this up,
Yep.
where we had the ice age and there was a supervolcano event, and we're down to 800 to several thousand Homo sapiens. And we all come from those people who got together and survived conditions we cannot imagine today. I mean, think about how much Homo sapiens were suffering. And so, if our core nature was to be evil,
Hmm.
which you would think if you just sit there and have the dystopia of the news and social media pushed to you,
Hmm.
because the algorithms are seeking to hijack your amygdala, you would think, wow, we live in a dystopia. Humanity
Yeah.
is horrible. And the reality is, in a world of 8.2 billion people, yeah,
Hmm.
every day there's going to be something bad
Yeah.
happening that's newsworthy.
Sure.
There are so many vastly more acts of beauty and love and connection happening between us every single day. And we have to overcome this mindset of scarcity and zero sum.
Hmm.
Right now, the US is locked into a mindset that if China develops AGI, artificial general intelligence, before we do, it's all over for the US.
Yeah.
That is literally a belief in the US.
Hmm.
I think China has that same belief. And, if I had just come to Earth and I knew nothing about us, one of the things I would zero in on as a threat vector is how many nuclear weapons we have.
Mm,
There are across the world today 13,000 nuclear weapons. And
mm,
I'll ask you a question, Ash. What percentage of today's nuclear arsenal do you think it would take to destroy all the cities in the world of any size
probably
and send us?
0.01% or even less.
Okay, so you're much closer than most people. Most people
Mm,
gets like 10%, 20%,
mm,
50%.
yeah.
The actual number is 2%. Okay, so we today have 50 times the nuclear arsenal that we need to destroy all of humanity
Mm,
and most of the animals on this planet. And then I would ask myself, are we still building nuclear weapons?
yeah.
China has never built more. The US is building a lot. And do you know what the acronym for this is? It's a Department of Defense term in the United States. Do you know what the acronym is,
No,
Ash?
no.
MAD. It stands for Mutually Assured Destruction.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm,
It's a psychological trick
hmm
to say, if you screw with us, we can destroy the world. But we're
mm,
building real weapons, okay? And what's going to happen with humanity, and I'm so bullish on AI and quantum computing and robotics, I think
mm,
that we are going to be able to see the age where we can solve all disease, where we can
mm,
take the energy of the sun and create nearly unlimited energy, where we can
mm,
desalinate and have all the water we want, where we can have all the food, all the healthcare abundance,
mm,
everything.
mm,
But we are also going to have to grapple with the fact that 90% of humanity 10 years from now is
mm.
not going to just have access to AGI, they're going to have to access to artificial superintelligence.
Yeah.
And we have to conquer our own fears inside ourselves,
Mm,
have that age of abundance for all. And the way that I talk about this and look at it is this
mm,
is God's final exam for humanity. And
mm,
so I'm working backwards from that place of we have 10 to 15 years to make it. And what can I do personally to help lead us to that age of abundance for all? Because once we
mm.
get there, oh my gosh, that truly is going to be a state of
I
bliss.
agree. But tell me a
And
little more about, how you believe AI uh,
mhm,
and Love Conquers Fear are working together to
mhm.
develop a more responsible AI development.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is where a lot of people are bringing the light. So remember that Mira Murati
Mm,
left OpenAI and now has a company that's worth over $10 billion called Thinking Machines.
hmm
And the thesis of what she's working on, and I had this thesis, by the way, when she left, is AI safety.
hmm
And there's going to be a lot more like her because the stakes are very high.
mm.
Eric Schmidt is speaking a lot about AI safety and the race that we're in.
Yeah.
And it's up to us, right? And one of the things that transformed India, which is so beautiful and so amazing,
hmm
is that, you had the beautiful human being, the beautiful soul of Gandhi,
hmm
who motivated an entire population to rise up in a nonviolent way
Yeah.
and take back control of your rightful country
hmm
and unify it once again and help repair from the brokenness of this
Correct.
separation. And you did it in a nonviolent way. And
Mm.
humanity has to demand
Yeah.
this to manifest that age of abundance for all. If we
Mm.
allow ourselves to be ruled by the very few that are constantly hijacking our amygdala, then shame on us, right? And
hmm
and so it really is up to all of us, Team Humanity. It's
hmm
also important for the top leaders to have a heart shift and realize what's at stake here for
mm
all of us.
mm
Um, so there's a lot of
I'm
positive things
sure.
happening. I know I'm
Absolutely.
sounding kind of dystopian right
Yeah.
now, but I mean, think about the magic of Google DeepMind's AlphaFold. Dimas Sisyphus won a Nobel Prize for that innovation. AlphaFold solved the protein folding problem.
Hmm.
That alone will create a world of unlimited medicine potential to
Hmm.
solve disease. I mean, let's apply that same technique to material science and figure out
Hmm.
how to harness the energy of the sun.
Hmm.
Everything starts with energy.
Absolutely. I agree. But tell me, in a world where fear generally dominates headlines
It does.
for various reasons, political leaders
Yes.
also believe in talking a lot about fear. How do you
Yes.
see love practically countering fear at a large scale?
So I think what's happening right now around the world is a consciousness awakening is underway.
Yeah.
Rates of meditation, psychedelic use, people grappling with the core of spirituality have never been higher in modern times than
Hmm.
right now. So
Hmm.
there is an awakening going on. And ultimately, what is happening is that humanity is starting to have a heart shift. The Pope
Yeah.
just 2 weeks ago gave this beautiful sermon
Hmm.
about how all of humanity needs to be able to look each other in the eyes and
Yeah.
see the God within us all. We're all
Hmm.
children of consciousness. We're all
Hmm.
children of God. We're all brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Just think about the Pope saying that 1,000 years ago. It would have
Hmm.
been heretical. It would be
Correct.
like, no, if you're not a Catholic, et cetera. He would not have been too kind to look at a Hindu or a Muslim or anybody else, including a Jew, right?
Hmm.
And so that type of action, we need a lot more of that from
Hmm.
the most consequential leaders. And
Right.
actually, the most important AI report, I would argue, of
Hmm.
2025
Hmm.
came out of the Vatican. Go Google it. You can look it up. It was at the beginning of 2025, and it's really a divine, detailed report on the stakes for AI put out by the Vatican, right? And so you have a lot of leaders who realize the stakes
Hmm.
at the top, like Dimas Sisyphus and Mustafa Suleyman and Mira Murati.
Hmm.
You also have a lot of people awakening to the incredible power of these tools. I mean, it's incredible that you can write poetry for the first
Hmm.
time if that's what you want. You
Yeah.
can do all types of art for the first time.
Hmm.
You can start to code. Vibe coding has become a
Yeah.
thing. You don't
Yeah.
have to be a guy like me that's been programming since you were 7.
Hmm.
You can create personalized products and services that the world has always wanted, but we never knew we wanted, right? I
Excellent.
mean, so there's going to be an explosion
I
in
agree.
capitalism. I actually
Hmm.
think the next 5 years are going to be the best time
Hmm.
ever for capitalism. And
Hmm.
then it's going to be kind of ironic because we're going to hit this point of energy abundance where everything's going to become deflationary. And think about the way you and I live today versus the way people lived 50, 100,
Hmm.
200 years ago, the
Yeah.
abundance you and I enjoy.
Hmm.
Well, once energy is abundant, think about the abundance the world's going to have. And I think that's going to be a heart opener because people will be able to climb the Maslow hierarchy very quickly and realize like, hey, we need to stop fighting over
Correct.
resources. Like we have everything now. We don't need to fight over oil. We don't need to fight over water. We don't need to fight over land.
Hmm.
Like let's really join in communion. And one thing that's kind of funny, Ash, is people push back on me and say, "Well, are you just saying we're going to meditate then
Hmm.
at that point in time?" And I'm like, "You're thinking too small." Like
Hmm.
once love conquers fear, it's a Star Trek future. If we can
Correct.
conquer faster and light speed travel, we'll figure out how. And you know what? We only know what 4% of the universe is made of today.
Hmm.
96% we call dark energy and dark matter to
Yeah.
make the math work between classical science and quantum science. Well, let's go out and discover
Hmm.
what that is and how to navigate it. And I
Hmm.
actually think it's the connective fabric of the universe. It's Indra's net, if you want to use a religious term for it,
Hmm.
that ultimately we can figure out how to navigate. I think that is the fabric of love and the fabric of the
Absolutely. But moving on, Brett, if you could address the next generation of entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
what would your core advice be about building with love and not fear?
So my core advice would be, when I was a young leader, I
Hmm.
had to decide on what my leadership style would be. And I'm sure, Ash, you did the same
Yeah.
thing, right? I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Okay, when
Mm.
I first started as a CEO, I was like reading hundreds of leadership and management books.
Correct.
I literally knew nothing.
Mm.
I was 24 years old. I was at the Wharton School getting my MBA. I
Mm.
graduated at 26, and I was
Mm.
just reading a ton, like, in starting my companies, trying to
Yeah.
level up fast.
Yeah.
Um, and I tried on some fear tactics, and it made my heart hurt, and it's toxic to yourself. And I ultimately decided at a very young age, literally when I was 26, 27 years old, to
Mm.
lead with love,
Mm.
because love is a heart opener,
Mm.
and people are at their most creative when they're in a loving state.
Mm.
Fear is a contractor. And fear actually makes the leader suffer too. It's actually their own brokenness that they
Mm.
lead with fear, because they themselves are trying to work out some trauma they had. Maybe their dad, was really abusive to them or whatever it was.
Mm.
And that is the base state of humanity. I mean, if you put two babies in a crib, they don't care if they're Muslim or Jew or
Yeah.
male or female or from, this caste or that caste. They're just divine, beautiful
Correct.
souls
Yeah.
having a connection. And that is our base state. And so we actually need to get back to being more human. And
Mm.
as leaders, if you lead with love, you're going to bring out the best in everybody. And this next generation, by the way,
Mm.
is going to demand that more than any generation ever has. They really
Mm.
want to work on things that are purposeful.
Mm.
Uh, they are born with this mantra of leading with love and purpose and changing the world for the better.
Mm.
And we need to honor that. And if you're a leader watching this and you're leading with fear, I can guarantee you that you need to conquer your own fears inside you, and
Mm.
you need to conquer your own suffering. And as Anthony DeMello said in the book Awareness, I would highly recommend that one on Audible. Once you understand the roots of your suffering, I mean, completely understand the roots of your suffering
Mm.
inside, it goes away,
Mm.
because you're just telling yourself a tired old narrative and you're stuck in a loop.
Mm.
Um, and you need to let that go, and then you're free at that point, and then you can manifest love. And
Mm.
I can guarantee you the leaders of the world today, that you can tell how broken they are
Mm.
through how fear-based they
Correct.
are basically hijacking our amygdala to gain power over us.
Mm.
And once they have a heart shift, if they do, and they let go of whatever suffering they have, and
Mm.
I think this forcing function of the abundance coming is going to be so pronounced that more
Mm.
and more of them are going to make that choice, because it's going to be silly to squabble over things
Correct.
when we have such abundance.
Mm. I agree. And I completely agree. The day we are completely abundant in energy will change the ball game completely. But I have
Yes,
time for one more question for you.
sure,
Um, you're writing a book on this theme.
I am.
What is the one insight from it you hope will resonate most with our viewers and listeners? And what do you want them to take away?
Yeah, so the book is called Love Conquers Fear, with the subtitle Humanity, AI, and the Age of Abundance for All. And it'll come out, sometime next year in March, April, May. And ultimately, the book starts out with the definition of what I mean by love, what I mean by fear. How do you apply that to the biggest problems in the world, whether it's
Yeah.
climate change or nuclear weapons and warfare? And then how does humanity transform?
Hmm.
And the number one thing that I want to happen with the book is I want it to help cause a heart shift. I want people to see the possibility of the future that as at stake,
Hmm.
that all of us could enjoy, all of us could unite, give the globe a big global hug and,
Correct.
really manifest this age of abundance for all together.
Hmm.
But the biggest thing I hope people take away from it is that the title of the book is the message. If we can conquer our own fears inside, manifest love in our own lives, and all of us can do that, and all of us have the capability to do that,
Hmm.
it's going to be amazing. And break out of your self-created matrix. If you
Hmm.
are seeing a lot of dystopian from the news, go and seek out things like Fix the News.
Hmm.
The founder of that, Angus Hervey, has spoken at TED for the last 3 years. Go out there and seek out the Progress Network. These are news stations which are showing all amazing scientific
Yeah.
breakthroughs happening every day,
Hmm.
all of the acts of love happening every day. And if you do that, it's like writing a gratitude journal every day. It will
Correct.
cause you to have a heart shift. You will see the massive amount of beauty that's frankly being buried by the algorithms
Hmm.
because it doesn't hijack your amygdala. Your amygdala
Absolutely.
just wants to click on fear all day long
Hmm.
because we really came from immense scarcity. I mean, again about
Yeah.
those 800 to several thousand Homo sapiens that were
Yeah.
almost erased, right?
Correct.
Um, so you
Correct.
have to change yourself to change the world.
Absolutely. And on that note, Brett, I just want to say what a fascinating conversation. This has been very unlike what I have had in the past with so many others. I just loved your first premise that we are all brothers and sisters, which is so right. I completely agree with your view that our scriptures, in the end, have the same message. It's
Yes.
unfortunate that our interpretations seem to change, but if you go to the root of every single scripture, it is the same message of love. Thank you
Yes.
for talking to me about how fear is something that we seem to have as a base instinct. And if we can conquer our fear, if we can figure out a way to overcome that fear and replace it with love, we will have a very, very different world to live in. And as you hypothesize, the day energy becomes overabundant and freely available to everybody, our lives will maybe completely different from what we see today. Thank you
Yes.
for speaking to me and good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.